Happy Monday, everyone. I hope everyone is having a beautiful day and had a great weekend. It's been kind of crazy around here, but life is good. All is well. And I wanted to come on today because I have some really, really, really good news. And I have a very special guest on that I adore and I love. She is a nurse, she's a naturopathic as well. And she's just so knowledgeable. And she's going to bring us some information today that I know that you're going to be thrilled to hear about. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Miss Jenna on. Hi.
Hello, hello. I hope that everyone's going to be thrilled to hear what I'm going to bring to the table. If not, I'm sure you will by the end of it. Promise.
Absolutely. Well, welcome and happy Monday. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. Right back at you. I love you. I adore you.
Darling.
Darling,
what
please
can I say? Well, I'm really thrilled to have you on. And I know time is limited, so I don't want to take up a lot of your time. But thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on and share some amazing information. I know that I'm not going to take your thunder by any means, but I really love the fact that you're so passionate as a registered nurse, and then in the whole naturopathic field and everything. So I would like for you to share whatever's on your heart and just take it away.
I love it. I love that so much. And I'm hoping that amongst the audience, there's going to be I'm just going to believe that there's going to be handfuls of you that really, really desire to hear this information, but perhaps don't know that you need to hear this information and cling onto it for dear life, because truly it is what I have done and have really had the been blessed to be able to see other people take this on too. So first, before we get into anything super deep, I would love to say, Patricia, thank you for having me on. The way that her and I met was absolutely divine, and I love it. And there is major purpose behind our connection, I know. And here we go. We're just going to start it this way. But my name is Jenna Gainey, and I am a mother of three. I homeschool. You see our skip counting over here. I have children that may or may not interrupt. They are quiet on set right now. And I'm a registered nurse and a wife. I have really pursued the more holistic side of things, which is going to bring us to the topic that we're going to talk about today, more holistic health. But when I say the word holistic, or, eventually when I am a naturopathic physician, I don't just mean in the health and wellness space. I mean all of it. And I really hope that by the end of this call, by the end of this video, whatever it is wherever you're watching from, that you really are inspired to maybe think a little outside of the box, not just in the health and wellness space, right? But in the space of schooling, education, career paths, work, whatever it is, we are destined for so much more than what we have actually been taught, right? So we've got to step outside that box that we have been kept within. Does that make sense so far? Mm-hmm. And if you have the ability to comment or like, I would love to see some comments and likes below anytime I come on and teach. I love to interact. So if you can, I would love that. My story begins as a baby nurse. I was a baby nurse. I was working straight into the intensive care unit, and a bunch of red flags began to pop up for me as far as the health of our population, the health of our community, the health of our society in general. And I didn't understand if we were all eating the way we were supposed to be eating, because we'd have some patients come in who were eating well, right, by the food pyramid, which is completely fraudulent. Message us about that if you would like. That will take me a whole nother 30 minutes to educate on, which maybe, Patricia, we can do that later. I don't know, but not today. That will take the whole conversation. But, maybe I can even ask you, Patricia, do you feel like you've ever, followed the steps of what society looks at and deems as correct or proper, and things are still just all over the place?
Yeah, 100%. And, I learned a lot, Jenna, during my whole health journey. We've got a decade under our belt, but, between cancer, TIA, strokes, lupus, all of those things, that was a big learning experience for me. And I had did my best to eat healthy. I didn't really eat a lot of junk food and stuff. And even at my best, I still ended up having a cancer diagnosis, right?
Mm.
But then being in that system, I was fortunate that I ended up at Mayo Clinic, that they did adopt the holistic and they honored that. So I was grateful for that at the time. And but to your point, yes. So it's very the system is broken.
It is so broken. It's crumbling.
Yeah. So being able to have this conversation is amazing. And I love that because I've learned so much, and it's really made me to be more conscientious about honoring my temple, the things that I put in there, reading labels. And I don't want to get into, because I'm not a science person when it comes to this stuff, but I know the basics of whole foods, eating good, wholesome, healthy fats, and putting good stuff in your system to the best of our ability. I mean, because it's a learning curve for all of us. I wasn't always perfect by any means, but my perspective really shifted after that health challenge that I had.
Right.
It changed everything for me, where I was a lot more focused, and I continue to be more mindful of that as I go along.
I love that word, mindful. I think chasing perfectionism or being a perfectionist, it's a curse. But if you're listening to this and you are relating to anything that we are saying, have said, and are going to say, I would encourage you to let go of the perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could just learn to marry the process, and the process, guys, it's a journey, right? To
Right.
marry the journey and divorce the immediate outcome of whatever it is that we're working on, that is the biggest piece of information. If you take away nothing else from this, is to take away that, right? Okay, if this is my goal, which we'll get into teaching what I'm super passionate about, but if this is my goal, then let me marry that process that's going to be up, down, sideways, backwards, sometimes, loop-de-loop, whatever, because it is transformation occurs on that journey, and transformation is never a straight line.
Right.
Ever. So
Right.
don't expect it to go like that. And I think remembering that along whatever it is that you are passionate about, or wherever you're trying to go, is the most important thing. So,
Correct.
Take my story, fast forward it. I started in the nursing field. I quickly realized that the healthcare system is broken, just like the public school system is broken. Just like, honestly, the public workspace, corporate America, is broken, and they're slowly crumbling. And so, from we can look at each of our lives. What can we do? What part can we play in helping to establish reform, and completely rebuild these systems that are crumbling before our eyes? And so this was about 10 years ago. And it's interesting how life will throw things at you. So I want you to think of something in your life, perhaps maybe something that brought you to your knees, or maybe something that just devastated you, right? I want you to think about that. And I really want you to feel it for a minute. And I want you to, if you don't already believe this, I want you to repeat it to yourself. And I think I just might cry, because things don't happen to us. Things happen for us, but we have to be able to see that. And so we were hit, which leads me to the topic we're going to discuss today heavily. We were hit with an issue with my 2.5-year-old son. Devastated. Hospital stays, testing, visits, scary as hell, right? Mm-hmm. And in the midst of the struggle, perhaps you're like me, you can't see that things are happening for me. But he's now 8, healthy, happy, and amazing. He is now 8. But through that period, for about 2 years, I couldn't see that things were happening for me, for my family. But I'll tell you what happened. Through meeting our neurologist, he introduced us to a topic that I cannot believe, as a registered nurse, we had not been educated on. It was about our metabolism. It was about how the human body operates and the type of fuel that the human body natively operates on. So if you take a look at the food pyramid, it's telling us the biggest portion of our diet should be wheat, grain, things like that, carbohydrates. So I'm going to get a little scientific here. It's my favorite thing. As human beings, our metabolism can run on two sources of fuel. We can run on carbohydrates for fuel. Carbohydrates break down to sugar. So like if you're taking notes, I should probably have a whiteboard. If you're taking notes, these are the 2 points I want you to remember. If we're primarily consuming carbohydrates, it breaks down to sugar. So we can run on a sugar metabolism. It's just called glycolysis, but just remember it as the sugar metabolism, right? Once the food pyramid was implemented around about between, I would say 1960s, we're going to give it an average between, they started talking about it in 1950s. Once it was implemented, since then, our health of our society has completely plummeted. We are sicker than we ever have been before, not just in body, but also in mind. There is a correlation. There is multiple studies, lots of research, and the food pyramid. We got the food pyramid all wrong. We can explain why again later, if you want to talk about that topic. But so for the last couple of decades, we've been doing what we've been told as a society. We're eating more grains, we're eating more vegetables, more fruit. We're not eating fat at all. Fat is totally, the devil, right? And so it's part of why our healthcare system is crumbling, because we cannot, as a healthcare field, as a healthcare system, support the weight of the community as far as how unhealthy we are as a whole. So let me flip the switch for a minute and talk about the other metabolism that we can run in. As human beings, we can run on a fat metabolism. So we can burn sugar for fuel, or we can burn fat for fuel. And this is really where the magic of what we're going to discuss today is born, right here in this sentence. Does anybody know that when you are burning your own fat for fuel, well, first of all, you're not obese, right? And obesity is actually the real pandemic. So when you're burning your own fat for fuel, you're not dealing with obesity. You're not dealing with metabolic issues. You're not dealing with, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 80% of the chronic health conditions that we have, right? But when you're burning your fat for fuel, the fat breaks down to, remember how I said carbs break down to sugar and we're running on sugar for fuel? Fat breaks down to something called ketones. And then we use ketones for fuel. So as human beings, we have two options to run on for fuel: sugar or ketones. Sugar, ketones, sugar, ketones. Ask all your questions in the comments. Literally, this is my passion to help people understand this. So we've talked about the health issues that's causing this. A lot of people have questions about, well, what does that even mean, right? Some people will say, I thought ketones were bad. No, ketones are not bad. That's part of the reason. That's part of the information that's been pushed out into the world. Even to nurses, you hear the word ketones, you think diabetic. Oh my gosh, right? It's not the case at all. It's actually our native metabolism. It's our native source of energy to run on ketones. We are born in ketosis, running on ketones for fuel. And if you were exclusively breastfed, you were in ketosis the entire time. And has anybody ever looked at kids and said, man, they have a lot of energy. They could just go for days. It's because kids are burning their fat for fuel. Kids are in ketosis more often than we adults. Am I making sense so far? Cool. Awesome. So biggest message here is humans have two fuel sources. You get to choose which one you want to burn. I'm going to use one example in case anybody is not quite picking up what I'm laying down. And then I would love to go into, okay, well, Jenna, how do we burn our ketones for fuel? What are the options? What can I do? What are some steps that we can take, right? So I want you to view our body like a car. And we fuel our body with food, right? Or supplements or vitamins or whatever we're taking. And But let's say we're a car, we're going to put gasoline in there for our fuel, right? And when you pull up to a gas station, you have 3 choices, well, 4 sometimes, I guess, but 3 choices for gas to put into your regular car, not a diesel engine. You got like the 87 and is it 90, 87, 89, 93, something like that. I'm not a car person, but I know there's 3 different options, right? One of them's cheap. And as you go, go down the line, it gets more expensive. All that means is that the quality is increasing, right? So our car can run off of 3 types of fuel, but which one is better? And which one does our car prefer, right? You put the 87 gas in, unleaded, I think is what it's called. I don't know. And I just grab the thing and put it in and then I drive. But if you grab the cheaper gas, your car will run, but the engine life is going to be less. There's going to be sludge buildup. There's going to be more work and maintenance that needs to be put into your vehicle. In comparison to what if I was using the most, the 93 gas? Listen, I don't know why.
I have no clue.
Okay, good. I don't know either, but the one that starts with 90 something. If I put that gas in, it's a higher quality. And guess what? My car's engine prefers that higher quality fuel. Okay, so just like the car, our body has a preference.
So what do you recommend in that case?
For sure, right? So get into ketosis. That's what I recommend.
What is ketosis?
Wow, awesome. So ketosis is that when our body is using ketones for fuel to keep the metabolism going, right? Glycolysis, we're using sugar for fuel to keep the body going. Ketosis, we're using ketones for fuel to keep the body going. Just like the car example, the sugar metabolism, we're building up sludge in the body. We're building up insulin resistance. We're building up obesity. We're building up all of these issues. Running on ketones for fuel, we're not. Okay. So it's a cleaner fuel source for our body. It's a more superior fuel source for our body. We're not crashing. We're not hangry. All of those things, if we were created and designed as human beings and birthed into the world in ketosis, that should be a major maybe I should pay attention, or maybe I should implement this in my life. So that's what ketosis is. Do you want to move into, how do I achieve ketosis?
And so, because I know there's the ketogenic diet, there's a lot, there's that people are taking pills, fat burning pills, what have you. But I know that one of the things that you're really passionate about, that you also have been utilizing for how many years, if you could, briefly talk about that, but then the ease of what you are and have been implementing to help your focus and help your brain to be more clear, energy, the ease of everything, but maintaining that premium fuel source for our body.
I love that. And I love how you stated that as far as the cognitive benefits, because, I get really excited about the science part, which I was just going through with you, but I didn't even mention why you'd even want to be in ketosis other than for health benefits. But guys, you feel superhuman. You feel phenomenal. And prior to getting into ketosis, I was exhausted. I was moody. I was just I was not a joy to be around. I really was not enjoying my life, right? I wasn't sleeping well. So by doing the things that we're going to recommend, you will have better mood, just lifted. You will feel lighter. You will have better energy, sustained, not jittery crash. It's just sustained. So better mood, better energy, better focus, right? If you have squirrel brain, or all of the, you can't stay on topic, or you hyper focus on things, that's going to level out, right? If you're not sleeping well, you're going to sleep better. If your appetite is out of control, you're going to get some appetite suppression and control there. So, and then of course that would lead to fat loss if you're somebody who needs fat loss. If you're not, then don't even worry about that. So yes, there is the ketogenic diet, which is very strict, hard to stick with. And in our case, when the neurologist recommended that we do that, my son's neurologist, I was a little bit in panic mode, because I was a nurse educated that on the top of the food pyramid, fat should not be consumed, when in all actuality, and I'll keep this very short, is fat is one of the most important fuel sources for every single cell in our body, especially cognitive cells, neuro cells, brain cells, whatever you want to say there. And so I do want to plug that. But so there's kind of a mind shift change. I do encourage everybody to eat better. I don't care if you're a carnivore or if you're a vegan or somewhere in between. I encourage you to eat better because, again, we're fueling our body. And that's, are we going to run on the glycolysis and the sugar, or are we going to run on fat, aka ketones, for that superior fuel? So ketogenic diet is an option if that is your jam. If it is not your jam, I am here to give you so much. I feel like it's going to be magical. It was magical for me. I was a mom with small children of a child who, what do we do on Halloween? Can he not have candy on Halloween? What can I do? Right? So there was a mom, and I thought I wanted to show you what it was. There was a mom who held up a packet. And she was talking about homeschooling her kids. And I was like, well, bruh, I homeschool my kids too. That's just how I talk. Super real down to earth person. I have boys. Bruh is what I'm going to call you most of the time. So hello, Mark. Hello. She held this up and she said something about, and I was only halfway listening because she was in like this Florida home and I want to go live in Florida. And she said something about, if you drink this, you'll get into ketosis right away. And my mouth dropped at first. And then my brain kicked in and I was like, no way, absolutely not. I'm going to have to look into this. And I did. For 2 months, I studied what this packet was that she held up. And then everything checked out. Everything also checked all of my holistic, crunchy, natural mom boxes. And I just felt like it was too good to be true. So again, believing that there's no way I can consume something that is safe for me, that ingredient list is what I approve of, that can put us in a state of ketosis, better mood, energy, focus, all of the things, sleep, superhuman fuel. That's what it is, right? So I ordered just 5. They're called a trial pack, right? I ordered a 5 from this particular lady. I didn't even know who she was. And we tried them and could not believe how they checked out. And so Patricia, you've recently tried them, right? Well, a couple months ago.
Yeah, I've been on them for a while. I just, without them, I don't function well. With them, I can totally tell the difference. With my just focus, I get a lot more done. I don't have that jittery. My mind is always going. So it helps me to compartmentalize and keep that, what I call my peaceful pace of purpose, which is great. And it's really super phenomenal for me for mood and my focus. And I will say that my digestion, I don't have as many issues with that, but that's a whole nother journey in of itself. But this has helped a lot, and just the energy and the steady stream. I'm like this versus like this. It's like this, which is amazing. So I've been on for quite a bit, quite a while, and it's been a game changer. And people that I know that take them, my friends that take them, they are having phenomenal success with it, and because it's so easy to do, and it's kind of mind-boggling that it can be something so easy can have such an impact, but I know it to be true, and it's amazing. It's literally amazing. So
truly it is. And I can relate to what you're saying there about it is still to this day. So I've been drinking, these are called pure therapeutic ketones it's been a little over 4 years now. And still sometimes I will have those moments where I'm like, I cannot believe that this works. I cannot believe that this still works.
yeah, it's fantastic.
And it goes back to life is not happening to you. It's happening for you. And without that moment or that period of time in my life, we would not have been introduced to something that has literally rescued us in more ways than one.
Yeah.
And so this is the easiest way to get into ketosis. I encourage you, if this sounds good to you, if you're on any of the social media platforms, outlets, wherever you're watching from, you can just comment the word trial. Either one of us can shoot you a message or a link or whatever of where you can request a trial for yourself as well. Obviously super passionate about these, super passionate about what they're doing, not just for my family, but anybody who I know. I think my teenager just got home. So
do you take 1 a day? Do you take 2 a day, 3 a day? I mean, what is the process on that for?
Great question.
What's recommended? I
listen to my body and respond. And that's how I will coach anybody through this if they have questions. Let me be very real with you. The back of the packet says drink twice a day. Oh, dissolve 1 packet in cold water, vigorously shake with rivers, can be taken with or without food. It used to say, I swear they used to say twice a day. But when I had friends or family or whoever, anybody who had questions about these message me, I was like, I want you to not just pretend like you fit within that box of the packet. I literally want you to listen to your body and respond. So when do you need the focus? When do you need help compartmentalizing all of your thoughts? Like Patricia said, when are you somebody who is legit not sleeping? Take it right before bed. Are you a marathon runner? Do you need to make them into little gummies and pop the gummies during the marathon run to give you the steady stream of energy? Are you someone who has to give presentations or you just want to be on for work? Drink it then. I will give you a real life example. So I drink between 1 and 2 a day. If I wake up in the morning, I feel phenomenal and I don't have any presentation to give or I don't have to talk about anything or whatever, then if I feel great, I'm not drinking them in the morning. I promise you though, I never skip mid-afternoon. I just feel as though my energy levels dip a little, natively. I get a little moody, irritable. I start to snap on my kids or get impatient with them, whatever. And so those are my triggers. When I listen to that happening for my body, I'm like, oh, time for one of these, pour it, shake it up, drink it. And within just a couple
is that caffeine or is that non-caffeine? Do you take caffeine or caffeine free?
Both of them, they come both ways.
Okay.
I'm not a caffeine lover.
Okay.
Some people live on it.
I'm the opposite.
So you live on it, right? So if you are used to 2, 3, 5, 10 caffeinated beverages a day, you can drink caffeinated every time. Now, the thing about these that I love is that it's not packed with caffeine. There's 60 milligrams of caffeine in each dose, up to 90 milligrams. I think your favorite ones, Patricia, are 90 milligrams. But that's still not loaded like a cup of coffee or some of the energy drinks that you see on the market with 300 plus milligrams of caffeine in them. So I will drink the caffeinated versions of these, 1, max 2. If I'm having, if I'm at a conference or I'm somewhere where I need energy and need to be on all day long cognitively, then I will drink up to 2 caffeinated packets a day for sure. Mm-hmm. But that's totally up to you, and it helps with the absorption. So you may feel when you're consuming these, again, if you want some, just comment trial. We'll let you know where to find them. The thing is that you can't order from the website without a referral code or without a specific code. So we have to make sure that you get plugged in with a code or you're going to have a headache and a half. And you don't want to have a headache and a half trying to get your hands on these. But either way, caffeinated, non-caffeinated, it truly doesn't matter. If you're feeling that you've tried both and you prefer the caffeinated, it could be that your body just needs the caffeine, number 1. Or number 2, it is scientifically proven that when in ketosis in the presence of caffeine, whether you're eating a ketogenic diet or not, like if you're eating a ketogenic diet, you'll be able to produce more ketones yourself. Or if you're consuming exogenous ketones, they will absorb quicker. So the absorption rate is different with caffeine versus no caffeine.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, listen, in honor of your time, because we said we wouldn't go over the 30-minute mark would be our max. I want to honor that because I know you've got a busy life too. So, but I would like to keep it open to invite you back because you're a wealth of knowledge. And I think there's some incredible value there, especially coming from someone in the medical industry, with you being a registered nurse and having the holistic side of things, which is so magnificent. I just love it. So I want to thank you so much for being here, and again, extend that invitation for a future sooner than later.
I sure will. I sure will. And I want to invite the audience to also, if they have any topics they want us to discuss, comment them. Let us know. Send them to Patricia. I love this stuff. I'll talk to you about anything that you have questions about. So thank you so much for having me.
That's so awesome. Stay online and I will be right back. Okay. So there you have it, guys. If you guys have any questions, just post them in the comments. And everybody knows how to reach me. So just do what you normally typically do. I'm going to bid you adieu. I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic rest of the day. Make it count. And from my heart to yours, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.